I was hanging out in our living room space, and I hear Patrick go, "Oh!" And I'm like, "What's happening?" And he goes, "Look!" Yeah. He goes, "Look what Matt just posted."
Here we go! Stay a while and listen. Now I find out. It's good!
What has two thumbs and is owed $90.14 by Google from 2022? It's me, Matt Silverman, co-host of Colette and Matt I've been to the chat. Are you impressed?
What'd they do this time?
It was not a lawsuit. It was that when you do AdSense for YouTube or whatever, they don't pay you until you hit $100.
Okay.
So it's like a rolling payment schedule. And so you hit 100 or you exceed 100 and then they cut you a check. But I stopped or one of my channels I stopped publishing, which then they were like, you're not monetizing, so fuck off. But then there was still $90 just sitting in the account. So what is it? 2022? It's 2026 now. 4 years later, they're like, hey, you have $90 sitting here. We should give that to you.
Never made the $100 mark, so they had to give it to you then.
Yep.
Wow. Thanks, Google.
So the question is, what video game should I buy with it?
Ooh. Okay, can I contemplate that through the pattern of the show and then
absolutely and
weigh in later?
I'm sorry, listeners, live tech support. We've adjusted Colette's mic so she's really crisp and sultry. Let's hear that voice.
Sultry.
Yes.
It's sultry now.
That sounds really good, except you're slightly too loud. So keep the mic facing you, but maybe back off or move it back a little bit and you'll be golden there.
I have 4 sultry words for you.
Yes,
Cory in the house.
First of all, who is talking? What is your name?
My name is Colette Bennett, and I'm a dork that talks about video games on the internet.
Hey, we did it. Man, we've got a show for you today. We are talking about some news and some chatter in our Discord community that we are really enjoying. So I don't know, where do you want to start today?
Why don't we start with Arc Raiders, because that was your game of the year, so it's kind of a nice transition from the last episode.
Not much to say about it. Colette actually pulled out this little news item here. I'm going to bring this down on my browser down yonder here. Oh, you disappeared. Where'd she go? There, she's back. I believe I got to go back and look it up. They sold 12 million copies altogether, or maybe 12 million plus this new stat. This is from a couple days ago, but 2.4 million copies sold just in 2026, which is only 17 days old as of this recording.
Wow. Shit. So I was thinking about when it came out last year, and I was thinking about, because it came out halfway through the year, right? Or later? Oh, that's not halfway.
October.
That's like Q4.
Totally.
Wow. That's
I'm going to triple
exciting.
check that. I'm pretty sure. All right.
That's so nice because, it's just been such a great experience for you. And I feel like that kind of response pretty much guarantees the health of a game for a while, they know a lot of people are playing.
It's the healthiest game I've seen in a very long time because meaning the existing player base keeps playing. They're still super invested in it. And as people get excited about it and tell their friends and leave comments on the internet, more and more people join in and they get hooked so if you look at the Steam charts, I think we talked about this on Game of the Year, you look at your Battlefield 6 and, all these big Call of Duty, you look at all these big games and it's huge mega release and then lots of people play it and then a big chunk falls off and then you get the hardcore people who stick around. Mm-hmm. Arc Raiders is whoa, lots of people interested. Everybody stays. everyone's still playing, and
That's
it just
super
keeps
cool.
going. Yeah.
Well, and I would think that that's also a good indicator for like, new content coming in the future because of the level of interest they have, which I know you would love.
They are working very hard to maintain the pace. Like I've OD'd on this game, and I've done all the things that you can do. Really, that's not really true, but yeah, I have set it aside for now. But they have already said, hey, new maps are coming. The deck system, which is it's vaguely like a battle pass, but you don't pay for it. It's like you earn credits in order to unlock cosmetics and items and stuff. And I blasted through all those, but I'm waiting for the next one. So as soon as they release more fucking hats to get, I will be back in there for sure.
I love that. That makes me happy for you because I know that this has just been a real source of joy for you in 2025.
Such a good game.
That's a great thing.
All right, what else you got?
Let's talk about Nintendo. So I saw this piece that caught my attention this morning when I was kind of doing my pre-podcast catch-up. And wait a minute, I'm sorry. Actually, no, I decided to spike that story in favor of Valve.
Spiked.
So,
yes.
Sorry, fuck you, Nintendo.
As we spike, move the mic further. I never say this to anyone, but move it away from you because I don't want to change your input level right now.
Because I'm so loud.
That's real. Okay, we're in the sweet spot now. Thank you so much.
Great. I saw a story on Video Games Chronicle this morning about Valve and AI. So I have been curious about how Valve is going to handle people uploading AI. And last night I watched a video from a great creator who I cannot remember her name right now, so I'm going to have to look it up and we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, send it to me. I want to watch it.
I definitely
and I
will.
Put it in the show notes. Yeah.
She's great. She's super, super smart. And like she kind of comes off as like she's got like a PhD, but like not snobby, if that makes sense. Like she's just super smart.
Is she actually like an academic person, or you're just describing her? Okay,
no, she's an academic, but I just can't remember anything ever. Yeah. But anyway, so she did a cool experiment, and this is connected to what I'm going to say about Steam in this news. She did a cool experiment where she, for the first 7 days of the new year, the first week, went to Steam every day, looked at the full list of what had been released that day, and then kind of like went through it and decided like, is there anything I actually want to play? And her findings were not a surprise, but interesting because of the 7 days, she found something like 42% of games used AI or were fully generated by AI, with many of them having disclaimers, but some of them she said she could clearly recognize assets used in other AI games and they weren't using disclaimers.
Right.
So,
that's a fascinating thing that I'm really thinking a lot about actually, where it's like, hey man, I'm not using AI, but all the fucking stock imagery and asset library shit that I found from other websites and other games, it was generated somewhere along, meaning generative imagery or generative content has poisoned the well of available assets. And so me as a guy who is like, I need to make a YouTube thumbnail, I need to make a game, I don't know. I don't know which of these assets has been touched. Therefore, it's I'm not using generative AI, but AI shit is in the thing I'm making, and that's a real fucking problem.
It is. And by the way, her name is Jenna Stober. My husband just kindly ran up with the iPad, was like, Jenna Stober. I was like, yeah, and she has a master's degree, so that is why she sounds so academic.
I don't know her, but this looks great.
I really highly recommend this and her other stuff. It's great. It's really well thought out. I loved her mouthwashing video. It was just incredibly well thought out analysis. And there's no like shortage of analysis on YouTube about games, but like good analysis is like a lot harder to find.
For sure.
So anyway, but so the reason I'm mentioning Jenna and that particular video is because there was a story that I saw about Valve significantly rewriting the Steam rules for how AI needs to be disclosed. And this was originally reported on Game Discover Co. by Simon Carless.
Right, I saw that.
Valve basically has changed their rules. So AI powered tools such as code helpers do not require a disclosure. What they do require disclosed is AI generating content in the game, whether that's within the game itself, on the store page, or in marketing materials. So
Right.
you could make the whole game yourself, but use AI to make like your little thumbnail that goes up on the top right, and you have to disclose that, for instance.
Right.
Yep. And then the second you have to disclose is AI content generated during gameplay. And so that obviously is only in the game. And that is that would include images, audio, text, and other content. So just to clarify, since 2024, Valve has required developers to disclose whether generative AI was used in the making of the game. And there's a disclosure section on the bottom. And then just some numbers for comparison.
Which was super vague, by the way, of like,
oh yeah,
we used AI to do something and it's fine. And I'm like, well, is it like helping out with your bookkeeping? Is it tweaking your code, or is it like generating the faces of your character? Like that matters to me. I'm more comfortable with some things than other things as a consumer.
Well, and one thing that I thought was extremely interesting that Jenna points out in her video is that when reading the disclosures, that a lot of them have become very defensive. And I thought that was interesting
yes.
in general. So, and a note from the article that I'm sourcing this news from. In July 2025, an analysis found that nearly 8,000 titles released on Steam in the first 6 months of 2025 had disclosed the use of AI. So there's an enormous amount of AI slop and or games using AI in some way out there. So, but one thing I find also very interesting is that even though usage has gone up, this article reports numbers that signify that interest is going down. So last year, probably because of the backlash, last year, 15% of developers from companies surveyed said they were interested in the tools. And then there was basically a decrease. So now like less than 10% of developers but the question is, are they is that lip service?
That's
and are
what
they
I'm saying is like
using it?
This difference between what the market wants and what is valuable to a developer, meaning if a generative and I'm leaning towards AI is a stupid fucking term because it does not gather we've been using machine learning for 2 decades.
A long time.
But generative content is a different thing. So I don't like saying AI. That's just a hype bubble bullshit thing.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is that if generative tech somehow makes your game development better or more efficient, ? But video game players do not want it and reject it. This creates an incentive for developers to lie or obscure their use of it. Now, if generative tech is a bunch of horse shit and actually creates a bunch of slop and bullshit that doesn't help game development, which could be true, depending on how it is true. And also we are the tools that we have today will be radically different than the tools we have 6 months from now. Sure. And smart companies and developers will figure out ways. It's like, hey man, here's a chainsaw. Well, that's a really powerful, useful tool that is not going to screw a screw into my table. A chainsaw is useful, but not for this. So when you figure out the actual correct way to use a chainsaw, then these tools will be used in ways that actually do make production faster, better, more efficient, which of course creates a whole host of other problems where it's displacing workers, and that's a whole separate thing.
Right.
So let's say then, for argument's sake, a game developer figures out how to use these tools positively to make a non-slop game, but the public rejects any use. This creates an incentive to lie, but also it puts onus on game platforms like Steam to say, hey, you need to specifically say, we use an AI tool to check for bugs in our code. We did not use an AI tool to synthesize voices for the characters in the game. And that transparency is what I want from a Steam or a PlayStation or whatever, you know?
But it's super interesting to me that Valve made this move because, like, okay, so it says, Valve has made it clear that AI-powered tools such as code helpers do not require disclosure. I don't know much about programming, but I assume what that means is you've programmed the code of the game and you are going to use an AI tool to check it for mistakes, which...
Or the opposite, which is the whole vibe coding thing, which is like, I'm going to just put some prompts in and let the thing generate what I asked for, and then hopefully
start tweaking.
This is the difference. This is where I would draw the line between slop and help tool. Slop versus tool. I'm generating code, and then I, the human, I'm taking pains to make sure that it is doing precisely what I want it to do, versus I put in 3 prompts, it generated code and it sucks, but I'm just shipping it anyway.
Right. And there's obviously plenty of that. Like, there's no question from what I saw in Jenna's video that is happening, right?
Right.
But I guess I agree, but also I think I don't know, it just makes me wonder, like, why would Steam make it not necessary to disclose that you're using it for the coding portion? Like, what's the advantage in that?
It's a good question. And this is okay. This is assuming or sort of saying that code is not art. I don't want to put words in Valve's mouth, but I'm very interested in this. Let's dissect it. Is writing computer code some sort of drudgery that nobody wants to do, and it would be better if we could have robots do it for us so that we can make art?
As a person who does not code, I think my outside answer is yes.
My outside answer is yes, but I think if you talk to programmers who really love what they do and love experimenting and pulling things apart and putting them back together, would they call it art? I don't know. I don't want to speak for them, but I assume there are people who would say the human process of developing computer code is a process that benefits from human ingenuity. But we used to put code on fucking punch cards, and we don't do that anymore because we have tools that can just generate and remove and change things much faster than putting punch cards into computers. So if a code helper, whatever that is, can alleviate the bullshit that coders need to do so they can focus on making great code and innovating and changing, I'm not opposed to that.
But how do you... Yeah, okay, first, I agree. Second, however, while they're making the code, they are actively damaging the environment. So people in a small town, while they're making that code, are paying for it by having less water, for instance.
That is like, so that is a,
you know what I mean?
That is a, yes. I'll say one thing. I'm not an expert on it. Number 2, the issues with environmental impact are real, and the companies like OpenAI are not being truthful about it. Full stop.
Yep.
However, there's an excellent video that Hank Green did about this exact issue. And in a nutshell, he says, they are lying about it. The impact is real,
Yep.
but not all water is the same. So putting a data center in the middle of the desert and using potable water that humans need to drink is bad. Putting a data center in a place where there's tons of water in the water table and we're using like sewage water and unpotable water to cool the data center has very minimal effect on water usage. And also, the electricity usage is a real concern, but then
Right.
not all electricity is created equal because it depends on where the electricity is generated from. And also, this is spit in the ocean compared to the water usage that we use to grow corn to put gasoline in our cars. The data center thing is literally zero compared to the fucking fucked up ethanol subsidy bullshit that we do in this country.
That's
and
fair.
That blew my head. So what I'm saying is, again, just watch. I trust Hank Green. He's a brilliant science communicator.
Yeah, send me that video.
I will
if you
send.
would.
It's very eye opening. The data center problem is real, and we should be regulating and addressing it. But also the wider problem of unregulated power use, capitalism, and corn subsidies is way more important and pressing. And so, me playing Arc Raiders at 4K for 5 hours, is that more or less electricity than asking ChatGPT to summarize a train? I don't know,
right.
but
We don't really know.
all the things use all the power. So
yeah.
So my point there is, like, I am not, and Hank does not apologize for these companies. They are. What the video is great because he is specifically saying, like, oh, OpenAI is like, oh, it only costs this much to generate a query. He's like, well, what about all the energy you use to set up the data center? What about all the energy you use to train the model? They are not being honest about the actual cost of energy usage. So I'm not apologizing for them. But what I'm trying to say is I am not an expert, so I'm taking the environmental thing away from the conversation for a minute just to talk about the ethics of the rest of it. Because again, I'm gonna not use AI to generate a query because it uses too much electricity, but I am gonna order fucking paper clips from Amazon so they can be driven on a truck to my house, and then I'm gonna drive to the down the block, whatever. I don't know. Anyway.
Or I'm going to drive my car and it's going to pollute the environment every time I use it if I'm not driving an electric car. Now, I brought that up in the Discord and someone was like, well, cars are different because cars transform the way we live. And I was like, but I think this too could transform the way we live. And it could also massively hurt our earth while it's happening. Just like the way that cars have been massively hurting our earth for decades and decades.
That's exactly right. It's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, for me, it and so it was very interesting to me when people were like, nah, it's not the same. And I was like, I think it could be the same.
I think there are parallels, yeah. So getting back to our discussion of, like, is a code helper, whatever that is that a tool that can help developers, or is it an unethical way to develop code? And the last thing I'll say is, like, if it's used responsibly to not create slop but to speed up a process, fine. However, if the code helper was trained by stealing other humans' code, then that is an ethical issue. So now we have an additional layer of granularity where it's like, hey, Steam's like, oh, code helpers are fine. Well, guess what? I assume not all code helper tools are created equally. So if we're not disclosing, we're not knowing.
Yeah. And I mean, generative AI is in its nature trained on human work. And so I think it's funny when people are like, oh, like, it's so much better than humans. And I'm like, but it's trained on humans. So that means that it also trains on the flaws of humans. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Anyway, I want to rein myself in before I get too far into being completely off topic, because this topic is so fraught and so there's so much going on in it. I don't want to go too far, but I did want our listeners to know this about Steam's decision,
Yeah.
and just kind of keep in mind as these perimeters continue changing around us in the world that we talk about here. I thought it was interesting. I think it's sad that AI slop is being vomited into the world at a frightening rate everywhere,
Yeah.
and I don't like it. But I guess if it's happening, it's good to at least know that. Because one last thing I'll say to circle back to the story is that Steam does require games that use generative AI to disclose the use. And I find this wording confusing and I haven't
Mhm.
looked it up,
Mhm.
but it says such disclosures are voluntary. So I don't understand how it can be required, but then
I
also
agree.
voluntary. I'm a
What
little
is that?
confused by that
Yeah.
wording,
Yep.
because to me, those are two opposite things. Either you require it or it's voluntary. Which one is it? So
Right.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, choose your games with care, and be
There you
aware
go.
that we are in the AI slop era. That's it.
I want more. I want more granularity from these rules. I want. This is a good. What this story is a good step in the right
Mm-hmm.
direction for Valve,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not unpacking the true granularity of like which tools, how were the tools trained, how are they being used. That is information that I would want to know as a consumer. And then also, I am. Look, I don't know the real stats, but like when you vomit AI slop into Steam, as this YouTuber was saying, like who the fuck is playing this shit? There seems to be, excuse me, among gaming culture, there seems to be a solidarity pushback of like we don't want this. However, in social media culture and like Spotify and whatever else, many smart people are continuing to be tricked by AI generated media, and either they are oblivious and they don't know, or they realize it later and they get pissed. Like I keep seeing articles where it's like, yeah, this artist is in Spotify's top 50 and they appeared 2 days ago and they have 50,000
And it's
songs, and it's
AI.
like, and so on one hand, I think what we're talking about here is like, yeah, there's a bunch of AI slop, but it's not successful because nobody wants it. And then on the
Okay,
other hand,
but
it's like people are getting tricked.
well, okay, and this is what I thought was super interesting, and I don't know why I didn't think about it until now. So, a lot of journalists or people in the media space will tell you that, a lot of what was once a space for more interesting content, that model has changed, and now you have a lot of sites that are content farms, right?
Correct.
So you might wonder, well, what's the point of the content farm? So the point of the content farm is basically taking a approach of, well, in order to get Google to notice me and to rank my content, I am going to just spew an enormous amount of it out, right? So Jenna pointed out in her video that this is now happening on Steam with people vomiting like sex game content out, and surely other types of games too. But she found one who she looked at the game and then she went to go look at the developer, and she just saw that for the last year, all they've done is vomit out the same game with different AI asset porn, AI assets.
Oh my god!
Like 60 or 70 games, and then she was like, they are trying to get someone to notice just one in there somewhere by just vomiting a bunch of it. And
this is
like,
what social media slop creators do. Is like because you're alluding to this, is like the internet is structured to reward engagement. There's a profit motive in the way tech companies have now structured the internet, where it's like you just have to grab attention. You have to spew a bunch of shit and hope that one thing will hook people and addict people in some way. And that has been a problem for as long as you and I have been making things on the internet. And now it's being supercharged by AI tools, because now guess what? Humans used to make slop. We used to employ humans to make slop, but
Right.
now we don't need humans to make slop. We can have AI make slop. And that, when I come to that conclusion, I am reminded that capitalism is the problem. It doesn't matter what tools or tech or systems or whatever. At the end of the food chain, the reason we are in this fucked up place is because of the profit motives of corporations and the internet as we know it.
Yep.
If you remove that, then fucking make whatever slop you want. Who fucking cares? And then we humans will be like, no, I want to play Clair Obscur. I don't want to play a slop sex game because it's better.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
You go to town on slop. Who fucking cares? But when algorithms reward slop, it puts other creators out of business because they can't compete. And that's capitalism. That's not AI. That's right. The root problem. It's not AI, in my opinion.
Totally right. I am going to very briefly touch on my last news point, which is just here to be funny and for no other reason. So I'm going to give some context. Last week, my husband said to me, he found this on Reddit. He was like, yeah, so, like if you go on, Metacritic, like the number one highest rated game is Clair Obscur. And I was like, yes. And then he said, and the second highest rated game is Cory In The House on DS. I was like, what? And so he took a screenshot of the top 3 games and he put it in the Discord. And he was like, one of these things is not like the other. And I just thought he just found something really weird, right? But there's more to it, it turns out. So GameSpot had a story about how basically okay, first of all, I think, and I don't think that this is explained here, but I think this is kind of like when GameStop became a meme stock where everyone was like, we're going to buy the shares and we're going to make it crazy and investors are going to be like, what the hell are you doing? But what they're doing here is a bunch of people are going in and rating Cory In The House really highly just to be funny.
I see.
And so now it's number 2 highest rated on Metacritic, right? So
I love that. I love when the internet all gets together and is like, what if we do this dumb shit?
It's super dumb and I love it. But this was a further evolve that I wasn't expecting from the entire joke. I thought it was just going to be oh, that's funny. The internet's being funny. This story basically says that there are now listings for the game on eBay that range between $50 and one of them is $1,420.69. One listing even has 44 bids and currently prices the game at $1,025.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, this joke has evolved to the point where people are like, I am going to sell my mint sealed copy of Cory In The House.
I know the reason.
The
reason is because this game, I assume, was not a successful video game, which means they did not create a lot of copies in the scheme of games, which means it is somewhat rare. And now because it is culturally valuable or culturally interesting, this rare object is now valuable. And I fucking love that so much.
Yeah, I just quickly put Cory In The House DS into YouTube and there was a bunch of reels and shorts that are why is Cory In The House suddenly why is it why do people want $10,000 for a copy of Cory In The House? And I'm this is good. So
do you have any, I don't know what this show is. It was a Disney Channel sitcom, kid sitcom show, I presume, right?
It was a Disney Channel sitcom. I think it might be from the 90s. Oh my God. They're on the top of the video results. There's a video titled Cory In The House is the pinnacle of gaming.
Okay, so I think we know what we need to do.
Right.
We need to play this game,
emulate and play Cory In The House,
and put our our Let's Play on YouTube, like next week or whenever. But because when will this meme be dead? Probably in a week or two. I presume.
Right, in a week or two. But what's really crazy is that there are a couple people who have done like Twitch playthroughs of the game, and that's from like 10 months ago. Like, well, that's because
everyone
new.
Does everything. Everyone plays through everything.
Everyone does everything.
You gotta find. You'll find it eventually. Yeah. And God bless them. They are the historians we need, the archivists we need, right?
I mean, honestly, in a time where everything just feels like, like I'm like the whole world feels like it's just falling apart to me. Like, I appreciate that some people are like, that's happening, but we're going to make Cory in the House #2 on Metacritic.
Hell yeah. This is what the internet is for. A bunch of humans getting together to make something interesting happen collectively. That is the whole fucking reason I got into this business, was to think about and talk to the cool people who do this shit.
Absolutely.
And now the internet just rewards whatever you fart out that makes me addicted on an algorithmic feed. Mm-hmm. But this is not, this is different. This moment is a different thing than that.
This is different. I agree with that. And I guess it seems almost silly, right? But like, the funny thing is that I was writing this morning, and I was actually writing about what we're talking about right now.
Oh, okay.
Which I've been thinking
Cory in the House or AI stuff? I literally don't know.
I was definitely not writing a deep cut about Cory in the House at 8:30 a.m. this morning. No, just about the state of, the internet and mm-hmm. the algorithms and all that stuff. And I have actually decided that we have a channel in our Discord called Colette's Writing Tips. And I was thinking about it extensively this morning. We don't use it much. I think I might maybe rename that channel and start posting writing in it, because I don't want to post writing on the internet, because I hate the internet right now. But we do have a small community that I feel like it would be a nice place to post things like that. And
but don't you can put writing on the internet publicly, and it doesn't need to be part of a machine. It can just be a website that is a page of text, and then that gives people a way to discover it. Look, are you going to get a 5,000 views? Like, no, but like,
I don't want that.
You don't want that. Look, you do you, but I think it's good for your thoughts to be publicly accessible. But then, of course, the majority of the audience will be our community. But you never know what a public-facing thing will lead to. So I guess I'm saying, like, there is a world 2 years from now where someone's like, hey, I saw your post and I really loved it. We should talk.
I really needed to hear that.
And I really needed to hear that. We should talk. Oh, we should collaborate on this. Oh, there's a job. You should talk. You never know.
Well, thank you for that. That's a really good counterpoint. And I have thought about starting a Substack. But have not actually done it. So perhaps this will be my impetus to do that. But I don't really remember how. Oh, right. While circling back to what I was saying,
you were writing about something.
I was writing about it, and I was thinking about it, and the thing that I dwelled on the most while I was writing, and I'm not going to lie, like, the post is a little on the downside, but it absolutely reflected on how much fun I had when the internet was about basically what people are doing with Cory in the House right now, which sounds ridiculous, but I swear to God, there is a nugget in it of like the fun of meeting a bunch of people who understand whatever your special interest is, right? And like being able to talk to them and being able to share things that make you happy with them. And if all these people think it's hilariously funny to make Cory in the House the #2 rated Metacritic game, there is some joy in that, even though that seems silly. Like, there really is.
That it is pure joy.
Yeah. And so
its purpose is joy.
I know that this sounds like deep AF, and it like almost seems like it shouldn't. But when I look at something like this happening, it kind of reminds me like, oh yes, the internet has been enshittified, but there are always ways for us to connect the way we used to connect. And I was also thinking that that's part of the reason I love Discord so much, is because it has minimal ads, and that ads are absolutely choking me right now, just like everybody else.
Mhm.
And that it feels like a safe space where I can just experience the things that I loved about the internet 10 or 15 years ago.
Correct. It's not, setting ads aside, it is not an algorithmic feed of content
Right.
you don't know, you don't follow, suggested for you. It is just a place where humans
It's
talk.
just a place.
And I get annoyed when the mainstream shits on Reddit as some sort of like cesspool bro shitstorm. Like Reddit, all roads lead to Reddit. If you Google any fucking thing on the planet Earth,
There's a
it
Reddit
goes back
thread.
to a human being who is like, hey, you should do this and change this, or here's some advice, or here's how to fix your problem. And if you go, similar to Discord, if you become a part of a subreddit that is about something you care about, it will just be a bunch of passionate humans discussing the thing that you care about. And the feed is not algorithmic in the same way. It is based on human
Right.
upvotes and downvotes. It is not like, hey, a bot thinks you'll like this, so here it is in your fucking face. And by the way, here's 17 ads next to it so that we can really, really squeeze it out of you. Reddit is going to a place to like have conversations with other human beings. So Discord and Reddit are the last mainstream bastions of sanity. And then if you want to get really wonky, you can do Mastodon and Blue Sky and decentralized places where
Sure.
there's you're going deeper. But it's harder for mainstream people to access those platforms. So
yeah, for sure.
did I ever tell you about ships of the Northern Fleet?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember what you may have told me.
This is where I met Katie Osborne originally.
Oh.
And I'm going to briefly summarize it here because it is adjacent to this Cory in the House situation, and it remains the single best thing I've ever seen on the internet. And in short, this was during the pandemic. A guy on TikTok was like, what if we all pretend to remember a pulpy steampunk adventure show from the 90s that didn't exist called Ships from the Northern Fleet?
I'm remembering. And that's what they did.
A bunch of like funny TikTokers and improvisers were like, yeah, man. And so they got online. They were like, I've just been getting nostalgic about the show. I used to love this character. Oh, episode 13 was so great. And then other performers were like, I didn't want to reveal it, but yes, I did play this character from Ships of the Northern Fleet. It was the best time in my life. And so a lot of people were pretending that this show existed and creating lore around the show that never existed, which led to a wiki of lore about a show which never existed, which led to merchandise being created for a show that never existed, and hundreds of thousands of people pretending like they remembered and commenting, being like, oh my God, it was my favorite episode. Episode 26 was good, but it was a little over the top. And as the whole internet was pretending to remember something that never existed, the lore and the structure of the show was being made improvisationally in real time. And then also you had other people on the internet who were not in on the joke being like, what are you talking about? I don't remember that. What channel was this show? What? And then we were all then laughing at those people. It was the great. And then there were people creating knockoff. They made merch for charity. And then other people were creating knockoff merch to try to capitalize on the real merch. And so Katie was, she has an improv background. So she was, she was pretending to be an actor who had been on the show. And so she was very,
love it.
This was this is in my personal opinion, it was my favorite thing that's ever existed on the internet. And it is very similar to this Cory thing and the meme stock thing and where it's just like, what if we just will this into existence?
Sparks of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Sparks of hope.
All right.
Let's talk about the most overrated games ever.
I'm going to play some official music here to transition us. There was yeah, go ahead.
No, go. You can set it up.
No, just there was a Reddit thread. It was not in a gaming subreddit, speaking of Reddit. It was just in the Ask Reddit sub, which is it is one of the default big fat
Reddit,
top popular subs. And it simply said, what do you, it was like, in your opinion, or what are the most overrated video games of all time?
And so I just want to quickly tell my side of the story, which is that this was after work. I was hanging out in our living room space, and I hear Patrick go, "Oh!" And I'm like, "What's happening?" And he goes, "Look!" He goes, "Look what Matt just posted." And so Matt posted, like, what he did was he posted like the link to the post, but the way it generated was just like a screenshot.
Yeah.
That just said, "Ask Reddit, what's the most overrated video game of all time?" So Patrick was reacting to that, and I was like, "Ooh!"
I just lobbed the grenade into the Discord and then walked away.
And so we were literally like, "Ooh!" Like having a real life conversation. Like, wow, got to really think about this, because it is rage bait. 100%, but it's also funny. And also I feel like it led to a conversation in our Discord that was just so much fun. Like, like I weighed into it. I thought about it. I really enjoyed it. Then I went to bed, and then the next morning I woke up, and like the next morning was like
more, please.
More. And like, so I'm like posting gifs of like popcorn, like eating popcorn and shit. And then like someone was like, hold on, I gotta see who it was. Someone was like, "Souls," and I was like, I'm literally waiting for Sky Berkson to come in here and just blow this up. And then because it's so easy, right? It's like I ended up saying GTA because I thought about it for a while, and I was like, and I was like, GTA because it's never been for me, number one, but also number two, like I just don't, and I thought for sure that there might be someone that was like, "Let me tell you why it's so good," but actually no one did. Like it really didn't.
I know we don't have any GTA diehards that we know of in our little
not really, but people laid some shit down, like Honey Bro. His name right now is B Juice Bro, but it's Honey Bro to me. Honey Bro.
And quickly on that note, is B Juice is honey. Right? Is B right? Am I understanding this?
Yeah, I'm dumb. I didn't even notice that until you just said it.
But now I love honey, and I have a lot of it, and I put honey in my tea this morning, and now I'm gonna call it bee juice.
You should call it bee juice because it's funnier. He posted.
Also, everyone should call coffee bean water.
Yes, bean water, and I had a friend who used to call tea leaf water or leaf dirt. Which is also technically true.
Great.
So to kind of just summarize for listeners, a couple of the games mentioned, jokingly, Ocarina of Time. I don't think anyone was seriously like Ocarina of Time is overhyped.
No, I don't think
maybe.
I don't think it was a joke.
Really? Okay.
I don't want. This is Appealing Mass says it's Ocarina of Time, and I don't want to speak for them, but I did not read that as a joke answer.
Really? I did, okay. But interesting. Bee Juice Bro called out Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I think is pretty spicy, as he said.
How dare you?
All the islands in the sky are boring, he says.
False and wrong.
GTA was mine, of course. Austin brought up Genshin Impact, which for me personally, even though I greatly enjoyed Genshin for many, many, many months, I could also see why someone would be like, I bounced off this, or it's not for me. So I can't.
Those games that you play obsessively for a long, long time, and then you take a break, and then you think about them, and you're like, yeah, I don't remember anything I did in that game.
Yes. That was Genshin for me, to be
I
honest.
think
A lot of
Genshin
it.
is one of those games. Yeah,
Yeah. Although I had so much fun when I was playing it, so it's weird.
totally. Yeah.
A couple of other ones mentioned. B Juice Bro also mentions Xenogears. I haven't played it in so long, though.
I don't know anything about the Xenogears. Is Xenogears and Xenoblade connected or no?
Yeah. So I'm gonna look this up on my phone real quick. The Xeno series started. I believe it started with Xenogears. Let me make 100% sure that I'm right. I think that was like PlayStation era,
correct.
maybe.
You are correct. Yeah. It is PlayStation 1. You are correct.
1998 role-playing game. Yeah. So I liked it a lot when it came out. That was a really long time ago. So I don't know how it would hold up. But people really, really loved it. So, interesting. Combat is not fun. It would be interesting to load that onto my emulated Steam Deck like stuff and just see if I also think it is no longer fun. Oh, I also called out Five Nights at Freddy's, not because I think the original game is bad, but because I hate seeing it spiral into what it spiraled into when the original game could have been, is kind of, an indie classic, but I feel like
a cult classic, and now it's like a big franchise. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, it's so, the brilliance of the original game is so dampened by like, it's the AI slop approach. It's like, let's make 12 of these.
Let's franchise it. Yeah, but look, we'll get into it in a bit. We have a bit of time left, but like, what does overrated mean?
Very good point. Let's back up a little bit. To me, overrated is completely subjective.
Right.
Because there is no objective that game is overrated. Because like I said earlier in the chat, if anyone says Hades, I will fight you in the street. And I meant it because in my perception, that game is too good on so many different levels for anyone to be like it's overrated. But for another person to experience that game and to completely bounce off it and to not be into the style of art, the style of voiceover, etc., that's possible. And that person will probably be like, it's overrated. So,
but I think you're talking about taste and versus overrated. So we have discussed a 1,000 times of like, I think, or you love Hades and I bounce off Hades, but I don't think or let's use a different example. Hades is a little trickier. Let's use Clair Obscur, obviously.
You just don't want me to drag you out into the street and fight you is all this is.
I don't want that. You'd have to drive a long way to do that.
I would. Thinking angrily the entire way about Hades.
How do I want to say this? Clair Obscur is a game that I do not like playing. I actively dislike playing the game, but I think it deserves all of the accolades that it has earned because it is an extraordinary work of art. So,
but do you think it's overrated because it's not fun for you to play?
No, and that's the distinction I'm trying to make. It is not a game to my taste. I do not like the game, but it is, in my opinion, because it's all subjective, it is not overrated. It is rated accurately because it is rated by the public and through awards correctly, in my opinion, because it is a good game. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm allowed to dislike a game that is not, or let me put it this way. Just because I don't like a game doesn't mean it's overrated.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. But how do you objectively decide if a game is overrated?
No, I agree with you, and I agree with Sky who had lots to say about this in that I don't think overrated is a thing. I think it is completely subjective. But let's go back to B Juice, who says Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are overrated. If he doesn't like the games, that's cool. That's great. But I don't think they are overrated. I think they are rated correctly because they absolutely transformed what an open world video game experience could be, because
I do agree with that.
we've had a lot of open world games before and after Breath of the Wild, but Breath of the Wild created a systemic world where everything you do and every moment and everything you explore feels interesting, rewarding, whimsical, exciting. And that, from a game design perspective, deserves accolades and praise and commercial success. Now, if you played it and were like, it's not for me,
Different.
great, but that is different from overrated. Now, so I'm saying two things that are opposing. I think the idea of overrated is subjective, so it doesn't exist. But I will also say, in my heart, even games I don't like deserve praise and success.
Right. Yes. I appreciate that. And, you know, I to circle back to a game that I definitely do not resonate with. I do not resonate with GTA.
Right.
But if I look at trailers of GTA, if I look at, you know, the most recent trailer, for instance, there's no way that I can be like, this is not an interesting, well thought out, carefully made piece of art. Like, I can't say that.
Correct.
So
GTA changed video games. I like, and so what I said a little bit, I wasn't too deep in the discussion, but I enjoyed everyone's contributions immensely. I like the word importance better than like rating, because most, I don't know much about GTA, but the first GTA and definitely GTA 5 and probably a couple in between are landmark games that transformed video game development and video game culture. So it can't be overrated because it's too important. I do not want to play any of those games. None of them appeal to me. I don't think it's overrated.
Yeah, this is so interesting because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, there's no real true way to think about this and not, like, being completely objective is kind of impossible.
It's impossible.
Because I'm like, yes, objectively, GTA games are, you know, very well crafted, but then the emotional part of me is like, I don't know. I'm so turned off by what those games offer.
I'm trying to.
So it's like, it's so hard not to be like, oh, it's so overrated. Why do people want to like fucking run people over in the street? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and someone will be like, because it's fun.
I don't know if that's the point of the game. I think that is one thing you can do in the game, but it's not the actual point of GTA. You're leading me to something which is like, okay, no one can be objective. We cannot be objective, but can we be critics? Can we criticize a game based on its artistic or technical shortcomings, not on what we personally like or dislike? You know what I mean?
I just don't know how possible. Like, it's just so, everyone has such a different take in the way they see art, right? Like, I will say that there are art styles that I find like flat out ugly. Like, I'm like, that's ugly. Does it mean the art is bad? It does not. But like, the style of art, there are a couple of animated shows I'm thinking off the top of my head that are very popular, and I'm like, that's so ugly I can't even look at it.
Totally. But that is still subject. Look, it's very, I love this conversation. It's all subjective, but okay, this was not discussed in our Discord, but one of the highest rated comments in this Reddit thread, the answer was Undertale.
Interesting.
And I think that's very interesting because and I think the commenter made this point of like, Undertale is a very good game. It's a very fascinating game. It has tons of secrets. It's made by one developer. It tells a narrative and creates characters that are so weird, and it is a landmark and important game. Full stop. But the fandom around Undertale feels so disproportionate to the importance of this game that feels like it's overrated. Like the people who fucking go bananas about Undertale and who defend it to the death, and that feels like there is a culture of like, this is the greatest game ever made and you cannot tell me otherwise. And I look at Undertale and I'm like, it's good. I like Undertale. It's
I
good.
like it. I like it. But I mean, I definitely didn't have that level of reaction to it. I think it's good, but I certainly have my personal levels of devotion to certain games.
Right.
Like no one came in this thread and said Journey is overrated. And that would have been another case of we're going in the street.
Totally.
But like someone thinks that. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like
yeah, that's a perfect example.
It's so difficult. It's just, yeah, all of this is very difficult. But yes, objectively, I think Undertale is a very good example of what overrated really feels like, right?
What it feels, it's a feeling, right?
But all it really means to me is that the game just didn't hit for me like the way it hit for many, many, many other people. Right.
Yeah. So is the concept of overrated then, is it about fan culture then?
Yes.
I don't think it is, but I think there's an element there, you know?
Well, and here's another whole piece, right? And like, definitely we didn't talk about this in the Discord. Overrated is also a very patriarchal kind of approach to art.
Say
in general,
more,
because
I'm interested in what you mean.
You will not see a gaggle of women talking about something overrated very often, like whether it's games or like, let's just go to like a very feminine sphere, like makeup or like, you know, whatever women like, right? You're not going to have a lot of women sitting around negging about something being overrated. That is a very masculine quality.
I definitely agree. And I will just add another layer of nuance there. Someone a long time ago kind of explained this sort of political grid to me, which made a lot of sense, which is like, forgive me, I'm not remembering the correct axes how you plot, but it's like there are people in this world who view the world hierarchically, where it's like everything and everyone needs to be in its place and serve its purpose because some things are more important than other things. And there are other political leanings that are kind of like, you do you and I'll do me and everyone can coexist. And that obviously maps to left-leaning politics and right-leaning politics. And there are other dimensions of this scale. And I agree with you that, you know, I don't know the numbers, but like there are more men wearing MAGA hats than women in this world.
Sure.
But lots of women support MAGA quietly and are part of the problem.
I want to clarify, I'm not blaming men, but
of course.
There's something very mansplaining about, well, that's overrated.
Agreed.
Like, and to me, it telegraphs, I own this space. I am a person who deserves to be in this space. And so therefore I get to dictate what belongs in this space and what doesn't. And I do not think that that is a thing that women do very often.
They don't go out of their way to do it. But if they're in the discussion, I'm sure many women have opinions, but they're not the people who are like, I declare this is bad and this is good, right?
No, because we don't really feel the need to do that, because we don't really feel the need to own the space. We're just like, what the fuck ever, you know, like, but yeah. So at any rate, you know, even though our friend Sky Berkson tried to resist the clickbait of this, the rage bait of this conversation, he did eventually get into it, but I'm glad he did, because I really resonate with what he said, and I agree with it. I also want to posit that not only are no games overrated, but no game looks bad. And I think that is a very interesting take, because I will sometimes see indie games and I will literally be like, no. Like my immediate reaction to the visuals is no. But once again, my reaction is only that one, and it's just going to be, you know.
But there's a difference between, I personally don't like an art style, but the art style is cohesive and does the job. It understands the assignment, versus I'm an amateur and I don't fully understand how to execute an art style. So some of it makes sense, but other times,
Some of
like
it.
there are games that I play. Fucking Clair Obscur is a great one. Beautiful game. Amazing game. Like, oh my God, everything aesthetically is about the game. And then I look at the menu interface design of this game and I'm like, what fucking choice is the cursor on? You made the cursor brown and you made the menu item slightly less brown. I do not know what fucking ability I'm selecting here because I can't see it. That is a beautiful game whose art style works, which also has, in my opinion, bad UI design.
Right. And see, that's so interesting though, because to you, that's a fact. I never once noticed the UI in Clair
Totally.
Obscur. I was
Totally.
just like, I'm fine.
So obviously what I'm
So
saying is subjective, but
subjective.
I agree with Sky 99%, but I
Right.
do think there are artistic endeavors that are like, I see what you were trying to do, but oh man, it's not that good. And I think that is the difference between expertise or mastery, I don't know how to say that correctly, versus I'm still learning and I don't quite have it under my belt yet
Yes.
as
Yes.
an artist.
Yeah. I mean, I've appreciated and loved art all my life. And I do not think, personally, I think that creating art is important, whether it is masterful or not.
Oh, agreed.
Whether you share that with the world or not, that's up to you, right? But like, that is something that I have worked on in my own personal art practice. Do like, for instance, a lot of the listenership knows that I have done lettering for many, many
Yeah.
years, right? And I keep all of it. I keep
Mhm.
all my practice. And when I pull out my practice from like 5 years ago, it looks like child doodles in comparison to what I can do literally if I pick this pen up right now and just do it random.
Yep.
The style is so different. And
Mhm.
it made me think a lot about the value of creating ugly art because
100%.
it is a part of practice. Now, should you put your ugly art into the world as your form of practice while you continue to make better and better art? I don't know.
Yes. Yes. I am saying, in my just one guy's opinion, resounding yes, because you make your own choices.
Yeah.
But the mechanism of putting it out in the world and having it being criticized or received is a massive way to grow and change and observe. And for so much of our media lives, we have been unable to do. The average person has been unable to do that. Hey man, I love TV. I wish I could make a TV show. Oh well, I'll never make it. But now I can make
Right.
it, and I can see if people like it or don't like it. I can and what has happened to me and many other creators is like, hey, I thought it was this thing and I thought I was making this, but actually the audience really thought it was this. And then it's like, whoa, that changed my whole perspective on what this thing could be. But if I just made things and kept them in the box under my pillow, I would never know what it could be in the future.
You're
Which
right.
gets back to your whole thing of like, I'm going to write stuff, but I'm not going to put it online. I'm like, I want to see it online. That's just my perspective. That's just my opinion. There is still value in making stuff just for you and keeping it just for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but the internet affords us a beautiful opportunity to grow as we make. And then just to circle back to the AI conversation briefly, to put a button on it, the real danger I see as the threat to all of it is that and I talked with Sky a lot about this, and I think he'll agree with most with what I'm saying because he, as an artist, if we're presenting young people with the opportunity to like, hey man, bash your head against this and try to figure it out for years until you figure out what art is. Or here's a robot that will just make it for you and it's perfect. Many people will take the
We'll
easy
choose the
way
robot.
and they will never have the opportunity to develop. And you can apply this to I was talking about this with my wife the other day. If we eliminate all entry-level jobs because AI can do data entry and customer service, all these jobs suck and nobody wants them. So it's good to eliminate them because it frees up people. But if we cut off the pipeline for entry level work, if we don't give younger people the chance to experience things in a career, they will not be qualified to become directors and managers and whatever because they don't have any work experience. And so this corporate idea, again, the problem is capitalism, of making my company more efficient because AI can do entry-level jobs. Well, good luck finding qualified people to run your company in 10 years because there won't be any. And you can apply this to art, which is very sad from a cultural point of view. But if you want to get down to brass tacks of like, how the fuck are we going to run companies in 10 years? That's the danger too. So, I'm not opposed to the idea of robots doing drudgery work because that's good. But if we don't put social safety nets in and we don't put training programs in and we don't empower artists to keep making good things because it's just so easy to do it fast, we're poisoning our culture in a way that will be generationally very difficult to recover from. And nobody's talking about that. I mean, many people are talking about it, but the capitalist discussion is not thinking about this at all.
Mm-mm. No, definitely not. We need to keep talking about it.
Thank you. We need to keep talking about it. And to anyone listening, just make some fucking art, man. Put it on the internet. Put it in our Discord. We have a channel for it.
I want to end on one specific note. Speaking of that.
Yep.
Not only do I go back and look at my first year lettering, but it gives me deep pleasure. And I wish I had the same reaction to... I really am sad that, unfortunately, I lost all my early poetry and writing in Hurricane Katrina because I really would have loved to have gone back and look at that. But I still have writing from I wrote a book 11 years ago and I haven't published it. And so I like looking at it. A lot of people will say, oh, it's so cringe to look at your old art. And it is in a way, but I also feel like there is such deep gratification in seeing how much that practice paid off for me as a lettering artist and how much I have changed as a writer as well. I think it is so worth it to make the bad quote unquote art to later be able to look at what you've it is an integral part of that process.
Yes.
You absolutely have to have it. You cannot skip it.
You can't skip it.
You can't go around it.
You can't. There's no way to. It's just not. It's not a thing.
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
Our friend Sky Berkson makes detailed miniatures out of paper. I think we've talked about it on the show before, and he makes dioramas from games. When I met Sky, I was like, wow, because he was already, in my opinion, so good at that time. And for me at that time, to have imagined him making dioramas 10 times the size and detail of what he was making when we met, I just couldn't have even conceived of that. But I look at stuff he's making now and I'm like, oh my fucking God. Because he built on his skill level over and over and over. And I'm sure if he listens to this, he's going to be like, oh my God, Colette, shut up. But
he told the single quote that he has said on this feed when he was co-hosting when you were out was, sorry, Sky, if I'm misquoting, but things take time.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with this a lot, and I also I am crediting you as being an evolved Buddha That's what we say around here. When someone exhibits some level of transcendent emotional intelligence, I'm like, okay, Buddha, to my wife or the kids. But the point is, to look back at your old shit and not feel cringe or overcome the cringe means you are an emotionally evolved Buddha to see past and see to choose to see the growth rather than the cringe is a transcendent quality of an artist. I'm not that guy. I don't want to look at my old shit. It sucks and it makes me feel bad. So I have work to do.
I like that thought. You should well, I think should is a weird word, but I hope you take a chance with seeing something from the past and seeing what value there was in it. I'll say that.
I appreciate that, and I will try to do it, but I probably won't.
That's okay. That's today. You never know. In a year, you might be like
100%.
I mean, look, I wonder what our even first podcast would be like, right? Like if we went back and listened to that, what would that be like? Would we be like, oh, it's just as good? Or would we be like, wow, we've come a long way?
We've definitely come a long way.
How many episodes? 200 and something?
8,000 billion.
So, yeah.
All right, folks. Get in the Discord. Here's the thing. I think because we're publishing videos on YouTube, our Discord link is sort of becoming visible to the wider internet. Mm-hmm. And that's cool because we have a lot of new people in the Discord. However,
welcome new people.
Welcome new people if you are indeed people. I'm concerned that a lot of people are joining but not actually saying anything, which makes me wonder if they are robots or what. So if you're a human being and you're with us, please say hello and tell us why you're here. And if you're not a human being, I don't know, give us money. Can robots do that?
I mean, you would think so, right? So
Bill Gates wants to tax robots and give the money to society. We should do that. My son is bouncing around outside my door, so that's our cue.
That probably means it's time to end.
Get the fuck out of here. Please be kind, make art, rewind your podcast after listening, and we'll talk to you in a week.